Hey everyone, it's Brian at Provision Studios, and I'm just out here in the studio going through my equipment. I've got some video work at my day job tomorrow. I'm doing some drone footage, so I'm getting some equipment gathered together. Just messing around with my Canon V50. Today, after I got home from work, I took the Canon VIXIA M50, which is what I'm shooting on right now, took it outside and did some more test footage with it. And the results were hit and miss. There were some things that looked really good. There were other things that kind of had me questioning the usability of the camera. There's certain things it does really well, and there's certain things that it sucks at. And when I say sucks, I mean it's like it's unusable. It's terrible. This camera is terrible handheld. I mean, the stabilization sucks. If you don't have a gimbal, and I don't even know, I don't have a gimbal that I can put it on. So I'm really speaking ignorantly when I say you need a gimbal to use it, because I don't even know if a gimbal would help. I'm assuming it would. The right gimbal for this size camera would get it to work much better. If you don't have this on a tripod, or you don't intend to use this on a tripod, don't get this camera. It's not going to benefit you at all, unless your handhelds are, you're pointing at something and you're holding it there. If you're literally doing panning shots with your hand, or you're walking, if any movement of your body, and this thing is all over the place, zoomed out, whatever, however you want to, explain the shot you're trying to go at. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what they were doing with this camera, why they would even build it. It reminds me of some things that I used to hear growing up, is with certain ball players, when he's good, he's great, but when he's bad, he's terrible. That's kind of what this camera is. The things that it's good at, it's great at. The things that it's not good at, it's like unusable. I mean, there's no middle ground with this camera. It's either you use it for what it excels at, or you can't use it. And what it's good at is being on a tripod, doing what I'm doing right here, sitting there talking to this camera, or it's really good outside. This camera is really good outside in daylight. I haven't done any night footage yet, so again, there's things that I'm sure this camera can do that I'm not speaking on. There's things that this camera can do well that I haven't experienced yet. I can only explain what I have used it on, and I walked around today for a good hour in different modes with this camera, handheld, with full stabilizations, dynamic stabilization. Just, I mean, you almost can't breathe handheld with this camera. When you are standing still and you lock on to a object or a subject, it does a great job. Focusing is an issue with this camera. This is not the Canon dual pixel autofocus, which is, like in this M50, is extraordinary. The dual pixel autofocus in this camera blows this away. I would rather use this than this camera if I have to do handheld. Think about that. I would rather use this mirrorless camera than this $1,000 camcorder if I wanted to get a handheld shot, because I know that this is going to do a better job. Certainly with focusing. On a tripod with a fluid head, like what I have here, what this is on right now, you can get some really nice panning shots. With the stabilization off, while it's on the tripod, the quality is really good. You can pan through a landscape and get some gorgeous detail while you're panning. I advise you to turn stabilization off. With stabilization on, I was noticing the camera sort of fighting the pan, or having that warbly effect on the edges, even though it's on a tripod. So, stabilization off on a tripod. I don't even know why you would want to use this off a tripod, unless you want to get sick. The footage is, I don't even know how you can. I don't know. It's got me wanting to send the camera back. If not for, I know that there's things I can use this camera for that would be excellent. Again, the things that this does well, it does it off the charts well. But God, you spend $1,000, and maybe it's me, maybe I'm wrong. I spent $1,000 on a camera. I don't want there to be things I can't use it for. This, I know there's things I can't use it for. Give me a second. This camera right here, the camera that made me want to get this camera, the Canon M50, the G50, this Sony AX53 is actually a better camera overall. Overall, the stabilization in this camera makes this look like a tinker toy. This stabilization is off the charts good. It's actually great. It's the best feature of this camera. I've done side-by-side comparisons. We've seen this footage on this camera to the side-by-side of the footage on this camera, and the Canon wins. The Canon has a better picture. But the picture, if you can't use it because the footage is so shaky and out of focus and distorted, this won't do that. This camera, the footage in this camera, I could take this. I could have had a camera in each hand today and walked around. I didn't, but I'm saying I could have walked around with a camera in each hand today, and this would have, the footage off of this camera, 90% of it would have been usable, whereas opposed to 10% of this was usable. Think about that. 10% of the footage I shot today, the hour of me shooting, 90% of it is unusable because it was handheld. It wasn't until the very end when I came inside, grabbed my tripod, threw this camera on a tripod, that I was actually able to get something I could use. That's serious. It's a serious misrepresentation by Canon, because they tout this camera as a cinema quality camera, a camera that you can shoot Hollywood styled footage with. Ain't happening. Now, I'm running and gunning. I get it. I don't have studio lighting that you would get if you walked onto a set somewhere. I'm going with, you guys, you've seen my stuff. You've seen the gear I use. I got ring lights. I got LED mesh lights. I got, regular bulbs. I mean, I'm not Hollywood material here. I'm a dude sitting in his garage that likes to create content to help somebody that might have some of the same questions I had a month ago. There is a serious side of me that it is growing that is considering sending this Canon camera back. Alexa, stop. Siri, stop. I got so many voice assistants. Okay. I'm losing track. Anyway, there is a serious, not Siri, serious side of me that is wanting to send this Canon back because the weaknesses of this camera are nowhere near the weaknesses of this camera. The weaknesses in the Sony FDR AX53 are so minuscule that you don't even think about it. The weaknesses with the Canon VIXIA HF G50 make you have to really think before you hit record. And it's a shame because I love the camera. I love the form factor. I love the feel of it. I love it in my hand and how it feels, the use of it. I love the look of it. I don't love the fact it's not Wi-Fi. I don't love the fact that in order to grab my footage out of it, I have to open up the SD window, pull out the SD card, pop the SD card in my Mac, look the footage this way, look at the footage off the card that way. With this, I open up, have the USB cable hooked up on the side here, have it on my computer, and my computer reads this as if it was an external hard drive, and it comes up. Now I could take the SD card out of here and do the same thing, but you don't have to because the USB port works. On this, the USB port does nothing. I do not have the HDMI cable. HDMI cable gives you 10-bit output at 422 at 1080p. That's a good feature. It was one of the features that drew me to this camera. But there's also a side of me that's saying, dude, you're better off with a G60. You're better off with a 1-inch sensor. You're better off with the dual pixel autofocus. Because these are things you know work. Will I send the camera back? I don't know. Am I thinking about it? Yes, I am. I just got it. I've only had it a little bit. I have improved. My footage has improved since I've gotten it. So I am learning the camera. But still, there are facets of this camera that I will never be able to get past because they are faults. That the way I use a camera, the faults in it won't allow me to use it. The strengths of this camera I can utilize because I do talking head here in my studio. I do instructional tutorial videos in my studio. This camera can do that. It can do it well. As long as this camera's on a tripod like it is right now, and I'm doing what I'm doing with it, which is looking at it and talking into the lens, there's nothing. This camera will have no issue, 0 issues. Especially with relay recording, I could sit here for 8 hours. I could sit here and talk till I can't talk anymore, and this camera won't miss a beat. It literally will roll right over to the second SD card and record everything I say. It won't miss a beat in that regard. The minute I take this off that tripod, it's no good. So, I have options. I got my FX7 right here, which is it's an oldie but goodie. It's a great camera. This has been my A camera for years. This is the camera that you've seen all my footage on my YouTube channel with. This camera has been my It sits there. It's my, you know, my off mount monitor camera. So it's my main camera. You know, if I'm talking into a camera, it's been this camera for at least the last 10 years. You know, it's getting a little older, and I was just looking to get up to 4K all over. You know, and you know what, I may keep this and I may keep this, knowing that this is great stabilization and that does it. So this would be the camera I'd work off of a tripod. That would be the camera I would work on a tripod. Maybe I'd do that. It's a pretty hefty price to pay for a camera that has limitations. I know I'm kind of ranting now, and I'm probably going to edit 3/4 of this video out. And I may not. I may just upload the whole damn thing. Who gives a shit? But the world needs to know that I know there's people out there that want to use a good 4K camera, and this is a good 4K camera. There's nothing at all wrong with this footage. They just need to know what they're getting for what they're paying for. You're paying this amount of money. What are you getting for it? You're buying a camera with limitations. Now, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people that are going to say, well, yeah, for $1,000, you're going to get a limitation is built into the price. All right, but don't market the camera for something that it isn't. And I think that the Canon company markets this camera falsely. Now, you can look at the specs, and you can, based on the specs, you can know what the limitations are. And I knew what the limitations were with the autofocus when I heard what its autofocus method was. The stabilization, they should say this camera has no stabilization. But it says it right on top of the camera. It says optical stabilization built in. Man, that's a fraud. It's lack of stabilization. It's crazy how poor it is that this does a better job. This little mirrorless camera that's almost half the cost of this camcorder is a better stabilized footage handheld. There are positives. The audio's good. I like the audio. There's buku audio features for this microphone. More than I would need. Again, I record off camera. I don't use onboard microphones. I am for this because I want it to be a true representation of what this camera can do. I record my audio onto my computer through my console. On either, you guys probably see, I either have a headset or I have a lapel, depending on which one I want to use that day. Whichever when I put my hand down, whichever's there, that's what's getting connected. So, but this has a lot of features. What I've shot, I have seen things that I've been like, man, that's not good. And I've said, man, that's not good, more than I've said, man, that's great. And I have said, man, that's great, or man, that really looks good right there. But I would be lying to you if I said that this has been all good. There have been so many moments when I've had this camera in my hand recording where I've said, what's it doing? I can't use that. Or I've said to myself, if this was a professional shoot and somebody was paying me right now, what would my excuse be? There is none. They'd say, you're fired, or they'd say, you need to buy better equipment. It's a shame. It makes me want to get a G60. I can't afford a G60. I can't afford the $1,600, $1,700, whatever it is. I can't afford that. So I'm stuck like Chuck, sitting here having a mental arm wrestling or tug of war with myself. Do I keep a $1,000 camera with limitations, or do I just send it back and knowing that I've got plenty of good gear already? Nothing was broke with how I was doing it. No reason to upgrade until maybe the G60 comes down in price a little bit. Until something better comes along, forcing Canon to lower the price of the G60, which isn't. There's no doubt in my mind the G60 is twice the camera it is. Not just because of the fact that the sensor in it is twice the size, but that dual pixel autofocus that is in this M50, I know what it can do. And it does not come off of focus. Will not do it. That thing locks on and doesn't let go. Anyway, I think I've gone on long enough. While I've been talking, in this video when I upload it, I'm going to intersperse some of the footage that I did shoot today so you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about. And you may look at the footage and be like, hey, Brian, that ain't bad. But I guess just from what I was expecting, it's just I'm let down. I think you can hear it in my voice. Obviously, I haven't been real gentle with my choice of words, so for that I apologize. But I don't like misleading people. People ask me questions all the time on my channel about a piece of gear, and I tell them I'm not qualified to answer that question because I've never used that gear. I will not give you an opinion on something I've never used. I won't do it. And there's plenty of people that do on YouTube. There's plenty of people in life that give you an opinion on something they have no business telling you their opinion about it. I won't do it. If I haven't used it, if it hasn't been a part of my life, I will refuse to share an opinion. Even if you beg me to give you an answer, I'll send you to someone or some business that can speak about it intelligently. I don't like misleading people just so that I can act like or think I acted like I know something I don't. I like to give you real world dialogue about my experiences, and that's what you've gotten here tonight. Anyway, thank you all for your support as I've shifted some of the focus on my channel from over the years, and you guys have been unwavering in your support, so that I very much appreciate. More content is coming, whether it's on a Canon VIXIA HF G50 or not. More footage is coming. Thank you very much, and God bless. Bye-bye now.